Here we go. Let's have a great workout. Congrats, you finished!
What's up, Swork team? I'm Steve Hill, one of Sworkit's fitness trainers. I'm a certified strength and conditioning specialist. I'm also in my last year of physical therapy school. I am so excited today because we are going to be unveiling new injury prevention and rehab exercises to the Sworkit app. I'm going to be answering some of the most frequently asked questions here. I wanted to first start out by saying that if you are feeling any signs and symptoms of an actual injury that is something that's not going away, I highly recommend that you talk with a medical professional, like a physical therapist or a rehab professional, in order to get evaluated and get the proper treatment that you're supposed to get. So I've got 10 questions that we're going to talk about today. And these are the most frequently asked questions when it comes to injury and rehab. Don't forget too that if you have any other questions, you can always send me a direct message through the Ask a Trainer function within the Sworkit app. I'm on there every day. I love answering your questions, and if you have something specific that you want to ask me, I'd love to help you out. All right, guys, let's get started with question number 1. All right, the first question is, I'm recovering from a back injury and my doctor says that I can do light exercise. What kind of exercise does this entail? Because of the way that the doctor worded it, light exercise, you can be pretty safe to say that they trust that whatever is going on with your back, they're not worried about you getting worse, right? If they said that you can get back to light exercise, it means usually that whatever has happened requires a little bit of love and care, but it's not going to get worse if you start exercising. This might mean, though, that you take out a lot of your higher impact exercises, like maybe burpees or some things that involve jumping, or maybe push-ups are too difficult. You just find the exercises that work with you for the way that you can move, and then you slowly build your tolerance back up, and eventually you'll be able to do the other exercises. The second question is, how do you know if you are on the verge of injury when you start feeling a little tired? It depends on your fitness level, how well you're able to tolerate loads, and how fit you are. For someone starting out, I highly recommend that you take frequent breaks, right? There's no reason to get injured within the first couple times of using the Sworkit app. Take your time, make sure that you're doing the exercise properly. Follow the videos that are in the Sworkit app, how to perform the exercise properly. Injuries usually tend to happen when you get really tired. So if you are doing a ton of burpees, and you start feeling a little bit of wrist pain, jumping down onto the ground and then pushing yourself back up, it might be wise to just take a break. Let your muscles relax so that you're not plopping onto the floor and really injuring your wrist while doing it. The next question is, if I don't have an injury, are the rehab exercises beneficial for me? The short answer for that would be that most of them might not be very beneficial for you. For example, if you are having no pain in your wrist, doing active wrist extension and flexion might not be very beneficial for you. It might not help you all that much, but to someone that does have a lot of wrist pain, this might be perfect. So when people get injured, generally you like to start them out with exercises that are somewhat easy, that are therapeutic for the motion or regaining the motor control of that injury. As they progress, you can continue on the spectrum and making it more and more difficult. For example, let's say you had a wrist injury, let's go back to that. At first, this might be enough, right? Then you might add in some stretch. Then you might add in like a wall push-up in order to load the wrist. Then you might load that even more by doing a regular push-up. Then you might do a plyo push-up. You see how it's like a spectrum? All right, the next question is, what are nerve glides? Providing you some content that might be very helpful if you are having some pain or referring symptoms that go from a certain area to another area. Not to get too anatomically correct with you guys, but you have a brain inside your head, surprise, surprise, and that is connected to a spinal cord that runs down your spine, and those nerves literally travel from the spinal cord into your extremities and all parts of your body. Let's do an example within your arm. So I have a brain, obviously, and that is going to send signals down my spine and through my arm and get to my hand. It's what helps me move my hand, right? What a nerve glide will do, it basically flosses the nerve. You can do this test right now. Basically what you do is you bring your arm up like this and put it next to your ear like this. And you'll probably feel these two fingers they kind of feel like almost like numb, like as if you hit your funny bone, right? That's actually your ulnar nerve being put on a tension. What a nerve glide basically does is, as you do these motions, we're moving that nerve in order to give it some more space and hopefully decrease some of the symptoms that you're feeling. If you're having very intense symptoms, that's one situation where I really highly recommend that you go and chat with a medical professional if it's not going away. All right, what are some nutrition tips for healing? There are certain foods that I'm going to discuss with you that might help you with some of the inflammation if you are injured or if you're having some signs of inflammation within your joints. First off, I just want to recommend that you eat a well-balanced diet, right? That you are eating a moderate amount of calories, that you are eating good, healthy, leafy vegetables to get all the vitamins and nutrients that your body needs, that you're getting adequate carbs, proteins, and fats in order to supply your body with the necessary nutrients. So there are some foods that are being researched right now that have shown some pretty good results. One of them is turmeric or curcumin, and it has pro-inflammatory agents in it to help you with decreasing your inflammation. Another food would be like salmon because of the omega-3 fatty acids. Another food that has been researched is ginger to help with inflammation of your joints. Like I mentioned before, leafy greens have tons of vitamins and minerals in order to help you have those adequate levels of nutrients in order to perform at your best. All right, the next question is, what causes soreness after a workout? Okay, so let's say this is your first workout with Sworkit. You decide to do an upper body workout. In Sworkit, we love using variations of push-ups. They work a ton of different muscles, but they are difficult. And if you have not done push-ups in a long time, you are going to be feeling so sore. What you're feeling is delayed onset muscle soreness. And it is very, very common with exercise if you have not been exercising very consistently. In order to combat DOMS, I highly recommend that you do the RICE program, or rest, ice, compression, and elevation. The most evidence has actually been found with compression. So let's say you're feeling very, very sore in your calves. Maybe you went for a long run or you did one of our high intensity plyometric workouts and your calves are super sore. It might be beneficial for you to do that RICE program and with a good emphasis on the compression of your calves. So that would mean that you put compression socks on or some of those really tight stretchy pants on your calves in order to help with the delayed onset muscle soreness. Next question is, can stretching prevent injury? So this one actually has quite a lot of mixed evidence on it. Short answer, stretching really does a pretty poor job at preventing injury. However, if you don't have the proper range of motion in order to be able to perform a certain exercise that you're going to do, you could definitely get injured if you did not stretch out properly. Stretching can definitely help lengthen your muscles. It can help you increase the range of motion of a joint, and that will thereby help you perform the exercise with proper form and hopefully get less injured. For example, let's say that I'm going to be doing a push-up. I've done push-up example here, but if I'm going to be doing a push-up and my wrist does not bend back to 90 degrees, let's say I'm only about to here and I'm trying to do a push-up on that, I'm probably going to have some sort of problem with my wrist. So stretching doesn't necessarily prevent you from getting injured, but it can help you perform the exercise in a proper range. It's also good to note that you want to make sure that you do a dynamic warm-up, or basically a warm-up that's going to start mimicking what you're going to be doing within that workout. All right, the next question is, how can I tell the difference between muscle and joint pain? So this is actually a pretty tough question to answer because they are very related generally. Let's go with the example of maybe like your elbow. You're trying to figure out, you did some bicep curls, but you're really feeling it in your elbow joint, but it also kind of feels like your bicep, possibly you tore it or maybe you strained the muscle. One good way of trying to figure out whether or not it's the joint itself or if it's the muscle would to do two things. You can contract your bicep, so flex your bicep, and if that hurts the actual muscle but not the joint, you might be able to differentiate and basically say that that's possibly a muscle strain. The other way would be having someone either move your joint for you or you move your joint without actively using your bicep muscle. And that might help you figure out whether or not that's the joint. And like I said before, if you are feeling like this is something serious, you definitely want to go get it checked out by a medical professional. All right, the last question is, you've determined that your pain is coming from your muscles, is it okay to work out sore muscles? Basically want to give yourself the best rest and care in order to perform at your best. It is not going to probably damage your muscles anymore if you were to exercise on really sore muscles, but it might not help you either. I generally like to start with a warm-up and see how my muscles are feeling during that warm-up. The most beneficial thing for you in this case is that you are very consistent. Too often I think people try and work out maybe one day a week, and then they wait a couple weeks, and then they try to do the workout again, and they're so sore and they're unable to be consistent with the exercises. I think that's it, guys. I hope that I answer some of your questions for the injury and rehab exercises that are coming to Sworkit. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to send me a message on the Ask a Trainer function on the app. I'd love to help you out. I really am excited about these exercises because I think that it's going to benefit a ton of you. Maybe you have some aches and pains that are just not really going away. Your doctor's cleared you for some light exercises. These are going to be perfect for you in order to help you get back to where you want to be and crush your Sworkit goals. Have a great Sworkout, and we'll catch you later.
Congrats, you finished.